guys, you know I would never put myself on here normally, except that this is a recipe that really there's a whole lot to unpack with it, and I want to briefly talk to you about it. So, you know, normally I just want to get to the point, get to the recipe, let's do this. And it's not about me or anything I have to say, because who really cares? But
exactly, foodies, who cares? I'm just going to talk to you as we go. So for my yogurt, I like to use a dedicated yogurt ring for my Instant Pot, because sometimes those things can pick up the odors of other foods, and this way it won't get funky with my yogurt. Here's a hack as well. Take an old foam paintbrush, well, not old, but you know, take one and use it along the rings there, rim, where it's really hard to clean, and you can just toss that as soon as you're done. So for a cold start yogurt, you want to use an ultra filtered milk. Fairlife is the brand that I'm aware of. I think maybe Horizons makes one too. Also, this is lactose free, which is awesome for people like myself who can't really drink milk. So this is the only way. Otherwise, you have to heat your milk when you make yogurt. Meanwhile, you want to get a starter. So you want to pick your favorite plain yogurt. I'm using a Greek yogurt, and usually I like it with the fat, but I can only find the non-fat, but that's okay. And it acts as like a sourdough starter. It's got all the bacteria and stuff that you need. And I'm just using this old yogurt container to store my yogurt in. And then this is the only equipment you need is a strainer, a bowl, a whisk, and a measuring spoon. Now you do not have to do this. You can go to the store, buy yourself some plain regular yogurt. But if you have an Instant Pot, I really, urge you to make your own yogurt. It's delicious, and you can definitely control the consistency that you want. Oops, the filming, because I'm not on a tripod right there anyway. So you're just going to add 2 tablespoons of your starter yogurt to your Instant Pot, and you're using the entire gallon of milk that I poured in there. And we're just going to put that in, and we're going to whisk it in there. And so yeah, you don't have to do this. You can just buy regular plain yogurt, and that's what you want. You don't want a Greek yogurt though for this recipe, because we're going to marinate the chicken and make a cucumber sauce, and you want it to be a thinner consistency than Greek yogurt. But because I'm making my own, I can actually make both, and I'll show you in a little bit what I mean by that. So now I'm just whisking in the starter yogurt, and I mean, that's it. It's that simple. So now I'm just going to put the lid on there. The newer Instant Pots don't come with a yogurt button, which is really a bummer. So I don't know how to do it on the newer Instant Pots, but mine has the yogurt button. You do not have to worry about sealing it, because we're not pressure cooking. And you just hit the yogurt button. It goes from either 8 or 9 hours. I do 9 because I do like my yogurt a little bit tangy. So the longer it's on, the tangier it is. It's 2 o'clock in the morning when I did that. So this morning I woke up and it said yogurt. And that's how you know it's done. And so now I'm just going to take it and we're going to strain it. And the reason we want to do that is we want to separate the whey. So as you can see coming out of the pot, it's very, very thick. It's even thicker than like a sour cream. And that's the difference between Greek yogurt and regular yogurt, is that Greek is just thicker. It's got more or less whey in it, basically. So you're going to put it in your strainer. If you do not have a fine mesh strainer, you only have like a colander, that's okay. You can use cheesecloth, or even any kind of cloth that will allow liquid to go through it. Some kitchen towels will even do that, but of course you want to make sure that it's very clean. So I'm just going to empty this out, and it does make about a container, like a large container of yogurt's worth of yogurt, and it keeps in the fridge for about as long as any other yogurt would. And to me, it tastes so much better than store-bought, and it's just so simple to make. So now I'm just getting all the rest of it out of there. They do have fancy yogurt strainers also that you can buy on Amazon. It's kind of like a built-in strainer bowl and then storage for the yogurt. It might be worth investing in if this is something you want to make a lot, but I don't have any issues with this. So I'm just going to cover it up with some saran wrap, and I'm going to see how the whey is coming out already. You can keep it in the refrigerator for as long as you want, but I let it strain for at least an hour. So we're going to do that. Cover it up and let it go. So now it has been in the refrigerator for well over an hour actually. And as you can see, all the whey has come out of it. Now, I don't know if you can repurpose that. I'm sure you can. That's probably something. Alexa, can you repurpose yogurt whey?
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, she doesn't know, but you could Google it and see for yourself if there's any way that you could reuse it. And now see, look at how thick that is. That is yogurt completely, you know, without it. But this is where I can come in and I can control the consistency that I want. So I'm taking out and separating the yogurt that I want to use for my chicken marinade and for my cucumber sauce, which I do want to be thinner. So I would say, you know, like this, like a Dannon yogurt type of consistency. And so I got my little whisk, and that's all you do. You just add as much, you know, you start out with a little bit of whey and you just keep adding as much as you want until the yogurt is your desired type of yogurt. You know, everybody's got their own taste on that. But for the chicken, it's much easier to make it more saucy and sassy for the chicken. Also for your cucumber sauce, which we will also talk about later. So that's all you have to do. Just mix it up, incorporate it like that. And that's the consistency that I want for it to be more, I don't even know, like, I was gonna say like yogurt, but that is yogurt. So maybe, I don't know, like pudding, I don't know. So now I'm just adding just a tiny bit of whey to the rest of the yogurt, because the rest of the yogurt is going to be what we eat throughout the week. And again, I like mine Greeky. So I'm gonna store it in an old yogurt container. That way it's labeled clearly, everybody will know what it is. And there we have it. And meanwhile, I'm going to do the same thing for my cucumber sauce. So this is the base for the cucumber sauce. And trust me when I tell you that we're marinating, ooh, it's flying everywhere. Marinating the chicken in the yogurt, it does not taste like yogurt. So if you're not a fan of yogurt, don't let this put you off or turn you off to this meal, because it does not taste yogurty whatsoever. Now I'm gonna make some ghee. OMG. Ghee, yup. What is ghee? It's clarified butter. What is clarified butter? That's butter that has had the milk solids strained out of it, removed from it. You're probably familiar with that if you've ever ordered crab legs or lobster tail, that drawn melted butter that comes with it. That's clarified butter. But with ghee, it goes a little step further and it actually caramelizes those milk solids so they get kind of brownish, and it imparts a more nuttier flavor. I actually really like my ghee very nutty. You do not have to do this. This is not a component of butter chicken. Butter chicken is not based on the fact that it's made with butter. That's a misnomer. And I have seen recipes where people are throwing a ton of butter in there. That's not what it's about. It's just to describe the sauce and the fact that the chicken becomes so tender it melts in your mouth like butter. That's basically why it translates to that. So you can use 4 sticks of regular butter. I'm using a big block of Irish butter. And I'm again using my Instant Pot because it's much easier. But you can do this on the stove as well, and you're just going to melt it. And see all the white specks in there, all that white stuff? That is the milk curds that we're going to strain out. And with the ghee, you just want to let it cook until they've gotten kind of brown. Now mine's really brown, and I can smell it. It smells very nutty and delicious. Most people don't have their ghee this dark, so I would say, you know, middle ground here. You can also look on the internet for different times, but that's how I like mine. So I'm going to let that cool off for about 10 minutes or so, and then again we're going to do some more straining. So same thing, use your same fine mesh strainer or sieve, or again more cheesecloth, and we're just going to drain out those curds. This can stay on the counter. You do not have to refrigerate this. It stays good for about a month and 6 months in the fridge. And just like a regular stick of butter, a lot of people don't know, you can keep regular butter at room temperature too in a cabinet for about 2 weeks, so you can always have soft butter for your toast. It doesn't go bad as long as it stays covered up. So now I'm going to make my rice. My Instant Pot has come in so handy. I absolutely adore it. So I'm using 1 cup of basmati rice to 1 cup of water. It's that easy to make rice in the Instant Pot, and it's foolproof. It will not scorch, it doesn't burn, and it comes out the perfect, texture. It's not too hard, not too soft, and you're going to do it for about 6 minutes, and then you're going to let it come down to a natural release for 10. So now the chicken I'm using is boneless chicken thighs. That is the traditional chicken used for this dish, and it actually came from leftover tandoori chicken. Tandoori is a type of oven, as you can see here. It's a big clay oven that most of us don't have, but I am going to be using basically a tandoori marinade, so it's going to emulate tandoori chicken. You can use regular chicken breast if you like. Not a big fan though. For this dish, it really is, the thighs are the way to go, and they're cheaper. So I'm using turmeric, ground coriander, garam masala right there, as you can see, which you can find in the grocery store. I told you guys about that before. It's like a curry, but it has no heat. Some lemon juice, salt and pepper, the yogurt we just made, and this is a chili powder. Now, Kashmir chili powder is Kashmiri chili powder from Kashmir, India, is the traditional chili powder used in this. It's difficult to find in grocery stores. You really do have to go online, either to Amazon like this. But I want this to be approachable. I want you guys to actually make this. I don't want you to feel like you got to start ordering all these exotic ingredients. So I'm using paprika, sweet paprika, smoked paprika, and a little cayenne pepper to emulate the Kashmiri chili powder. And honestly, it's a really good dupe. You can't even really tell the difference. So you don't have to worry about ordering crazy ingredients, but I do want it to be close to an authentic taste to give you a really good idea. As you can see, that's how you spell it. It's pretty expensive. So this is also a cheaper alternative to having to buy it at a specialty market or going online. So Kashmiri powder is actually known for its really vibrant red color. It's the brightest out of all the chili powders. So it's pretty much just to give this dish color and a little bit of heat. It's like a poblano, chipotle level of heat. It's not like cayenne. So you don't want to substitute all cayenne pepper. You'll not be happy. So now I'm just making the marinade. I'm putting all the spices in with the yogurt and the lemon juice. And I'm going to stir that all up. I'm going to use my little whisk again. So again, like I said, I want this to be approachable. There's a million different recipes online for this, of course. There's very authentic to, like, I don't even know how they're calling this butter chicken, and everything in between. I want this to be a little bit of both. I want this to be realistic for everybody's kitchen, but still tasting like you got it from an Indian restaurant. So I'm going to let this chicken marinate for at least a half hour. Minimum of a half hour. You could even do it overnight. And while that's marinating, I'm going to make my cucumber raita, which is very much like cucumber tzatziki sauce, but different. We're going to use cucumbers, and tzatziki is usually shredded cucumbers, but I don't like that, so I use cubed anyway, even in my tzatziki. But the difference here is that we're going to use cumin, and I'm not putting in the chaat masala, which is another Indian spice that's kind of hard to come by. So it's not going to be truly authentic raita, but it's still pretty good, and it offsets any heat that you are going to have with your butter chicken. Tzatziki sauce has a few different spices in it, and I believe sometimes people add dill to it as well. This also is supposed to have toasted cumin seeds, where you toast up the seeds and then you grind them up and then you add it. But again, for simplicity and not to scare people away, I'm just using ground cumin and some salt and pepper and a little dab of lemon juice, and that's, you know what, it's delicious. I don't miss the nuances of toasted cumin seeds or anything like that, and I don't think you will either. So if you like tzatziki sauce, you're really gonna like this. So again, I'm just putting in like a splash, and all of the ingredients and the exact measurements will be in the description box below. Now my chicken's been marinated, so I'm going to broil it for 8 minutes. This step is completely optional. You do not have to do this. I do this though because I feel that it kind of locks in the marinade, and it also helps the cooking process. So after it's been broiled for 8 minutes, I'm going to pull it out, let it cool off for a little bit, and then I'm just going to chop it up into pieces that I'm going to end up sauteing in the ghee. So, whew, you guys, this video's kind of intense. Okay, so now I've got my heavy cream sitting out to room temperature. I'm using half a cup, but I've divided it. You'll see why. And I've also chopped up my cilantro. I'm going to be using that as a garnish. If you hate cilantro, go ahead, omit it. I know a lot of people have that genetic thing where it tastes like soap. And we've got naan bread, which is so delicious, but no, I did not make this. That's the one thing I'm not making homemade, but you could try that. And now we're gonna get our sauce ready. So it's basically the same exact spices. Paprika, the fake Kashmiri powder, the coriander, the cumin. I've got some tomato puree, the ghee, of course, and so a ginger garlic paste. You can do a cheat like I did, which is where I took just this ginger paste and then I minced up some garlic in the garlic press, but you can also take a fresh ginger root, take off the skin, throw your garlic cloves in a food processor, and just, you know, make this paste. But you can do what I did and kind of, you know, cheat. You can even buy the garlic in a tube as well, and then just mix it up, and you know. And now maple syrup. Why? Pure maple syrup to replace this. The fun and Greek leaves, which are also kind of hard to find, but have a flavor profile like maple, so I don't want to omit them completely because it is kind of a signature thing, even though you don't really taste the maple, but it's just, it all incorporates, it's all part of it. So I know it seemed kind of weird, and it's got to be pure. It can't be like Log Cabin or Mrs. Butterworth's or anything like that. So now I'm heating up my ghee, and I'm adding the garlic and the ginger, and now I'm going to add my chicken pieces. I'll let my ginger pieces saute just for a couple of minutes. I mean, they're more or less cooked, but just to kind of cover them with the ghee. So there's the butter part. Again, I've seen people throw tablespoons of butter in the sauce, and it's just not, that's not really how it works. I also have not used onion. Now, some people will say that they use onion. I'm not using onion. I use that in chicken tikka masala, which is another Indian dish, but I don't use it in my butter chicken. So now I'm just adding my spices and some salt to taste. You can omit the salt too if you don't eat it. Now I'm adding my tomato puree, and to that I'm just going to add about 1/4 of a cup of water, and this is going to simmer on the stove. Adding my turmeric, there was a little bit left over. You want to add some black pepper for sure too, to make that bioavailability of the curcumin in the turmeric. You guys, I'm having a problem talking today. Available. The black pepper really helps with that. So now I'm adding the heavy cream, half of the heavy cream, 1 portion of the heavy cream. If you are non-dairy, go ahead and use coconut milk instead. So now I'm just going to stir this up, cover it, let it cook for 20 minutes. But I'm going to stir it every 5 minutes because I want to make sure it's not going to stick to the bottom of the pot, and that it hasn't evaporated down too much, and that I don't have to add any more water. So this looks good, and so now on my first stir, I'm going to add the maple syrup. Trust me on that. I know, it seems weird, but it's not. Okay, so now I'm going to remove it from heat. I'm going to let it simmer uncovered, cool off just a little bit before I add the rest of the heavy cream. And that's how it looks, and it's even brighter red when you use the actual Kashmiri powder. And add in the heavy cream. Let that warm up a little bit. Just stir it in. And there it is in all of its divine goodness. I promise you, you guys are going to love it. So you serve it over the rice. The rice can also be tossed with cumin seeds, which is kind of traditional. It's called Giza rice. There's my naan bread that I heated up in the oven as it was cooling off from being broiled. It's got butter on there. Sprinkle it with the cilantro topping. JR put hot sauce on top of his to bring it some heat. And we chowed down on this. So good.
Full, babe?
Very full.
How was it?
Delicious.
What? It was so good, right?
The best.
Is that why you're so full?
Yeah.
All right, so everybody should make this, right?
Duh.
Okay, I'm just saying.
And we were so excited to eat it that we forgot all about the cucumber raita. So we're very excited. We have a little bit of leftovers left, so we're definitely going to utilize this, you know, on the next round. But I'm telling you, you guys, out of all the stuff I've made, you have to try this. That's how your plate's going to look once you've tried it. It's that good.